What's up, guys? And we are back after a much needed little break. We took a trip to Seattle and went and saw an abandoned bridge. That was pretty fun with the wife, so it was just a nice little break, so that's why you're kind of going to see a gap in videos here. But we are back now and we are working on Stefan's build. This is a 500 wheel horsepower STI build, and I did see a lot of you in the comments were asking, why does he have an IAG 900 stage 4 with long block for only 500 wheel? And that's just his request. That was his preference there. He will have room to grow in the future if he ever wants to. He just wants a reliable 500 wheel, which would be no problem at all. And I do believe that we are going to be pushing this FP Black quite a bit to hit the 500 wheel goal on that Mustang dyno that you guys have seen the cars go on. And for the new subscribers, you guys are going to be seeing how much of a heartbreaker that thing is here soon. And I also did have a lot of comments, and something I didn't take into account before, where we have a bunch of new subscribers on the channel, which thank you guys, and thank you for watching and supporting the channel. With that being said, is I've had several older videos explaining some of the things that you guys are asking for, so that's kind of why you'll see me kind of jumping through certain things, is because I feel like it's a overlap, or I don't want to sit here and bore you guys because I'm showing the same thing every single time. But I also need to take into account that we have a lot of new people here, and back when we were showing these videos, we didn't have nearly the traffic we do on the channel now. So I am going to take a step back today. I am going to show you a little more in-depth of the things that you guys have been asking me to, and that way it'll explain a little bit more. If you do need to see anything else on what we're going in depth with today, I do have previous videos on them as well on the channel. You can take a look back. But enough talk. Let's get started today. Let's make some good progress, and we already have. I mean, I told Stefan we're about 80% done with this build right now. We do have some fab work the cars have to go in for, but we're gonna get the car all the way done, get it to where I can start it up, do the braking process, and get some miles on it, and drive it over to Ranch Built, which is gonna be doing the fab work. So let's take a look today, guys. Something we're going to be dealing with. You can see we have the intake manifold just sitting here. It is not bolted on at all, guys. It's just sitting on top of the engine. That way it covers up those holes for when we're gone. Nothing will ever fall down there. You can see just how much room we have with that AMS intake and the FP Black. That is a 3¼ inch inlet. The only thing I think we're really going to battle with putting a larger inlet that we are going to on here is just getting it to fit with this power steering and this intercooler pipe here, because this has a Cobb front mount kit, so this is a little bit different than most. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a custom 3¼ or 3½ inch turbo inlet all the way out and over into the intake, and utilizing the factory Cobb airbox. So it's going to be pretty cool, guys. But let's get this thing off of here, see if I can do this one-handed for you. Yep, we did get the injectors installed on this intake manifold when we were finishing up there. This has a set of ID 2000cc injectors, which are no longer available. Just lucky enough that we had a brand new set in stock, so good thing for Stefan there. But we got those installed on there. Now, taking a step back and looking here, some of the things you guys were asking about was on this IAG AOS. So you can see here right now, it still has the Street Series upper portion here, which we have the Competition Series we need to swap out onto here. So that's why this is still tucked up over here. That's why this piece is on here. So we need to do that still. But we can ignore that for the moment, because the Competition Series just is a hose that runs down and goes to the ground. So just ignore the upper portion for now. You guys wanted me to ask, or you guys were asking if I could explain this a little more in depth. I'm gonna make it as simple as it can be. So looking at your IAG AOS, it doesn't matter street or competition, we have these two upper ports right here. We'll call this A and B. So A and B just go to a valve cover breather. So if you look here, the hose is just sitting on here right now. But it goes into the front breather, the valve cover there. You come over to here, and it's going to be that front guy right there, the 1/2 inch. So that's all that is. Then we have our larger one down here. We'll call that C. That comes over and goes into the back of the block here. You can see, obviously, we're going to have to make some adjustments to this hose because, well, we have a bigger turbo. But it goes in the back block breather there. And if you take a look, there's actually another hose that comes along here, and that's the drain for the AOS. That's on the very bottom. So these two hoses go right here. It makes it super easy. And then the only thing left on this thing that we have is coolant upper, and there's a lower one that's running down and kind of hidden. It's right here, guys. So we have two coolant hoses. we are deleting that stupid expansion tank. You guys know I don't like those. And Stefan has agreed that we are going to delete it. So for those wondering how we do that, we have a coolant water pump fitting coming up right here, okay? This is on the driver's side. Try to get the best view I can. It's right there. Normally there's a black assembly that goes across here for the PCV system that connects to the center of the block. Problem being is we're gonna have to modify that quite a bit for our new inlet we're gonna have. So we're actually just gonna make our own, where we have a T come up and go to these back breather fittings, but ignore that for right now. I don't wanna confuse you. We have our water pump line coming up right here. We're gonna run a hose up. We're gonna run it into our AOS, one of the lines for the coolant, and then the other coolant line here that I'm holding in my hand, this is gonna go to the turbo coolant line. So what we're doing here essentially is we're creating a loop in the system. We're putting our water pump that runs over, goes to the AOS, AOS goes to the turbo, turbo goes to the back of the head. Super simple, guys. We're using that kind of like our expansion tank. So that replaces it. We're just using that as a loop. And that does explain that a lot more for you guys. So hopefully that is as clear as it can be. We did make a lot of progress, like I was saying before, on this thing where we got our heater core hoses hooked up, we have our starter in, motors all the way in, clutch works, we have our downpipe on, dump tube on, everything's all done pretty much underneath the car. Motor mount nuts are on, motor is timed, because you saw before it wasn't. So we have made some really good progress. What we're going to start up today with is we are going to get this AOS hooked up all the way, get our coolant lines ran. We do need to put our bolts back in here, so you can see there's one missing there and there, because that had that black assembly I was talking about, and when we were test fitting, it was going to hit over here. So just pulled that off. I got everything we need to hook up that PVC system. Wow, I cannot talk today. To hook up that PCV system, which is our center block breather here, that needs to connect over to the black larger 5/8 breathers, if you're wondering what size that is. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Let's get to it. Now, since the AOS has fittings on its lines here, you can see they screw in and then they come out to a coolant line. These have already been cut, and regardless of them not being cut, they still wouldn't be the length that we're gonna need. So as you can see here, this one obviously is not gonna be long enough to go where we need to on that turbo. So we're gonna fix that today by doing this. We have a 1/2 inch, I'm just saying focus. We have a 1/2 inch barb on here. There we go, maybe. So we have this 1/2 inch barb on here that we're gonna be using, guys. Shows you what it is. Just picked this up at like an Ace hardware store. These work really well. Now obviously we have our Gates coolant line here. So we got plenty of that. Just picked up some extra to have in stock. So we're gonna get this onto that coolant line that's coming up from the water pump, and then we're going to start running it across the top of the motor and over to that AOS there. We got all our coolant lines all hooked up now. So as you can see, this upper one just wraps down and around to the turbo. And obviously the turbo's original one goes back to the head. We have the bottom of the AOS that comes over. You can see it runs underneath here. We should have plenty of room for a coupler to go on the turbo. I left some slack in this so we can move this away, and we have plenty of room. That runs over across and to that water pump side. So that's all finished up. So the next thing we're going to work on is the breather system right here. So we need to get that together. And I know you guys probably saw me using a cutter in there. This is the cutter that I like to use. You can pick this up at any kind of Lowe's stores. It's like 15 bucks, and this thing cuts awesome, guys. So let's get that breather system all knocked out, and then from there we're pretty much finished up. Then we're going to go on to the flex fuel kit, guys. So we got the intake manifold sitting back up here. You can see we have this intercooler pipe on. I was test fitting that to make sure everything was going to clear, and it definitely is tight. We got our fittings on underneath here. I'm going to put the map sensor over here, so I need to pull one of these back out, put that in. You can see we got our oil pressure back in where he had it before, so we just went ahead and put it in the same spot. No, this is not tight over here. This is, but behind for the intercooler pipe obviously is not. But we are making some progress. Let's get that flex fuel out. Jumping a bit ahead here, we got our Cobb flex fuel mounted it so you can still see the IAG 900 there. This is the line coming off going to the regulator. So we have our flex fuel right here. It's all wired in. Obviously we don't have the engine harness in, so we still have to plug it in. I mounted the other piece to the Cobb right there. You can see we got our intake manifold gaskets on now. And we also got all our lines made for the return, so that way we can put the intake manifold all the way on now. I already have this intercooler pipe on because I was testing it earlier, so that's all ready to go. We got all our breather lines all hooked up. Everything is good to go, and we did get our hob switch in. That's what's tucked away over here. So we have that all wired and in and done. We have our relays all mounted up there, fuel pressure regulator mounted there. So this thing's really coming along, guys. We're going to get this intake manifold thrown on here, and we're going to get the return lines done. I got to make one front feed line for it still, put the alternator in, and then we're really waiting on the engine harness. I don't know if I'll put the alternator in right now, because obviously when we put the intake manifold on, it's going to be pretty hard to get that wire harness underneath there with an alternator there. So might end up leaving that off for now, but this thing is really coming along, guys. So let's get that intake manifold on, and I'll catch you guys up. There we have it, guys. We got that intake manifold installed on the car all the way now, and we are pretty much at the point of where we can't go any further because we do need our engine harness to go through and actually button this thing up so I can put, so say like the intake box back in, and I can get everything done over by the battery, also over there where the harness plugs in. So we've done everything that we possibly can. New harness is supposed to be in today, and then they'll ship out to us from Portland, so hopefully that's going to be the case. We did have to turn our throttle body up portion like this to clear the intercooler pipe down there because it comes really close. So it has me worried we might need the I-wire extension piece for the throttle body. We may or may not. We'll see when the time comes. We did get our AM 5-bar map sensor in there. We got all our fittings in. We have our hob switch vacuum line. We have our brake booster vacuum line there. Then we're going to have our blow-off valve and our fuel pressure regulator. So we have everything done down there. Our turbo does have a reference on it for boost for our boost controller, so that's why we didn't need to tap into here. And we ran out of spots anyways. So this thing is all pretty much buttoned up. We got our front fuel line on. We got all our fuel lines on in the back and done. Our return system's done. Our regulator's on. We do need to get a cap for this other side of the regulator because we're only using one side now. And yeah, this thing's really coming along, guys. So that's going to wrap up the video for you guys for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Did go in more in depth on some things, but it is really hard because of a lot of the things that I'm trying to do are tedious, and I can't place the camera right, so it makes it hard. So I kind of got to jump ahead. So hopefully you guys don't mind. Hopefully I did explain it to the full extent, but I'm excited, guys. You know what's behind me right here? Oh, big shout out T-Shirt Labs and Elite for doing our t-shirt design. We are going to have our merchandise be dropping soon, so keep an eye out because I think we're going to drop these on Friday. So we'll see. You guys will see more if you follow on Instagram. We'll be posting on there as well, and I'll be posting on here in the community board about what's going on with the shirts, but pretty sure we're going to drop these on Friday. on the website. I will keep you guys updated. Pretty excited about it. So thank you for all your support, and I will see you guys in the next video.